Luigi. Luigi, for fuck's sake, I just started the goddamn video. I just started the fucking live stream. Hello. Can't see you in this one either? What? So you can hear me, but you can't see me? Motherfucker. You can see me? All right. All right. Third time's a charm, huh? Third time's a charm, huh? The problem is that it fucking blows through notifications when I do that. I got a drink. A little white Meinsty. What happened? Iran struck back and some of their missiles pierced through the Iron Dome and hit, I think, Tel Aviv. Not good. Not good. Where the fuck? I gotta open this. I need a knife. Do I have a skizzer? Do I have a skizzer in here? Oh, I do. I have a skizzer. How was everybody's break? We took a little break. What happened? Iran struck back. Some of their missiles pierced through the Iron Dome. Yemen also, the Houthis, they joined in the fray. Yemen sent some ballistic missiles. U.S. forces are now involved. We have U.S. forces intercepting missiles, so we're officially in the fight. You know, just like the worst things you could imagine. Thank you for the dono, Tony. Much appreciate. Just know I'm voting for you in 36. Yeah, if we can make it. Alrighty. Iran launches retaliatory strikes against Israel. Get the fuck out of my face, CNN, with your live shit. Hi, Luigi. Hi. Mama. You want to come up? You want to say hi? A little Luigi has appeared. A little Luigi has joined in the fight.
Hello. I am Luigi.
Mom, you're gonna yank out the cord. You're gonna yank out the cord. You can't yank out the cord. There you go. You having a good day? You're having a good day. Oh, you okay? You almost ripped that shit right out of my ear. Okay. This was live. I think it begins like right now. Does it not? Yeah, it does. Is it gonna be loud? I don't know. Luigi. What'd I miss? Iran striked Israel. Oh, shit. Luigi. Hold on. So you could literally see it. Did you guys see the Iron Dome try to intercept and fail there? Did you see it? Let's watch it again. You can see the Iron Dome come in and intercept almost all of them, but only one of them got through. I think one of them got through. Hi, Beans. Yo, isn't it crazy that all the wars now are just kind of like live streamed in 4K? Casualties, we don't know yet. This is Tel Aviv, bro. This is the capital of Israel. This is Tel Aviv, bro. Do you understand how extreme this escalation actually is, guys? If Israel ever was gonna use one of their nuclear weapons, like hypothetically, they would say like, well, I mean, only if Tel Aviv was getting bombed, only if the capital was getting bombed. I thought Jerusalem was Israel's capital. I thought it was Tel Aviv. Am I wrong? Somebody double check me. Maybe I'm wrong. It's Jerusalem? Then what is the importance of Tel Aviv? What is, because it is definitely more important than other places. Capital, alright, so why is Tel Aviv so... It's the headquarters of a number of government ministries, the Ministry of Defense, public organizations, the General Federation of Labor, economic and cultural heart. Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. All right, so it's like how like New York City isn't the capital of America, right? But it is the number one most important fucking city, you know? So that's crazy. Oh, what was that? Was that a message from Netanyahu live?
Tonight I wish to speak to you, the proud people of Iran. Tonight I wish to speak to you.
Why can't it go back to 1? Normal.
The proud people of Iran. We're in the midst of one of the greatest military operations in history, Operation Rising Lion. The Islamic regime, which has oppressed you for nearly 50 years, threatens to destroy my country, the State of Israel. The objective of Israel's military operation is to remove this threat, both the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat to Israel. And as we achieve our objectives, we're also clearing the path for you to achieve your objective, which is freedom.
So what this is, and this happens a lot with like colonial nations, or trying to establish a empire. What he's doing now is trying to provoke the Iranian people to rise up and take out their own leadership, out of fear that as long as those guys are in power, Israel's gonna like fucking nuke them or some shit.
In the past 24 hours, we've taken out top military commanders, senior nuclear scientists, the Islamic regime's most significant enrichment facility, and a large portion of its ballistic missile arsenal. More is on the way. The regime doesn't know what hit them. They don't know what will hit them.
By the way, real quick, guys, about the retaliation, because Iran retaliated and hit Israel. Israel said that if Iran retaliated in any way, they will kill the Ayatollah, the leader of Iran. They said, we know where you are. We were able to kill your right-hand man, because they did. They killed his right-hand man, Salami. And they said, if you retaliate whatsoever, you're fucking dead. And now Iran has retaliated, which to me means Israel might dead-ass assassinate the leader of Iran, the Ayatollah.
The nation of Iran and the nation of Israel have been true friends since the days of Cyrus the Great. And the time has come for you to unite around your flag and your historic legacy by standing up for your freedom from an evil and oppressive regime. It has never been weaker. This is your opportunity to stand up and let your voices be heard. Woman, life, freedom. Zan, Zandegi, Azadi. As I said yesterday and many times before, Israel's fight is not with you. It's not with you, the brave people of Iran.
Meanwhile, we're getting confirmations that Israel's attack on Iran they killed civilians, like a bunch of kids. They were targeting these like military members in their homes. That like, meanwhile, like, brother,
We respect and admire. Our fight is with our common enemy, a murderous regime that both oppresses you and
fucking Luigi. Oh, shit. Can you cut the shit, Luigi? MK, Jesus Christ, bro. There are civilians, dog. Guys, Iranian and Israeli civilians exist that don't support their government. That were just born there? Like, brother, did you choose to be born where you were born? No. Nobody chooses where they're fucking born.
A lot of dangers, obviously, in the region, and a dynamic situation, one that's rapidly unfolding. As you were speaking, Colonel, we've actually just learned from Israeli news sources that they've identified incoming missiles right now launched from Iran. So we're going to continue monitoring that breaking news as we take a live look at the skies over Israel. Again, missiles being launched from Iran that Israel has identified. This is live in Tel Aviv.
Thanks for the
right
$5.
now. You hear the sirens going
Isn't
off,
that a
and it
quote
appears
from
that there are
Doctor Who?
projectiles in the sky right now. Colonel, if you could weigh in on the capabilities that Israel has on its own to defend itself against some of these missiles, because as we saw in the attack last October, they relied on help not only from the United States, but other regional allies as well.
That's exactly right, Boris. And that help came in the form of HS cruisers, U.S. Air Force assets. So you had both the Navy and the Air Force providing support to the Israelis. So what the Israelis have includes, it's basically a three-tiered air defense system, air and missile defense system. One aspect of it is the Iron Dome, and there it sounded like you heard a rocket go up to try to intercept something. And what we're looking at there is the possibility of them trying to intercept one of the Iranian rockets. We may see an explosion if they hit something, and that is something that could very much change the dynamic. They don't strike every single incoming missile or rocket, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the ones that are going to affect their population centers. And it's almost like tracer fire. There you see the blast
One through,
right there.
two through, two
that
got
shows
through.
that they've intercepted.
Jesus.
There's a strike right there. That may have fallen just outside a population area there in Tel Aviv, but it looks pretty close to the city center. That is something where there may be some damage.
Colonel, let's actually go live to Oren Lieberman, who's in Jerusalem for us, sheltering in a bomb shelter as we speak. Oren, the skies over Tel Aviv lighting up right now.
This is
Vast strike, as audacious and devastating as it was complex. A remorseless Israeli assault on more than 100.
Has Trump not said a goddamn word, bro? Has Trump not said a goddamn word about this? I know, like, brother, I'm sure he's posted on Truth Social, but get in front of a fucking camera, guy. Get in front of a fucking camera. Brother, I'm probably the one telling you right now that U.S. forces are intercepting these missiles. We're there already. We already sent the... He hasn't said shit. He hasn't said shit in 8 hours. In 8 hours, bro. Oh, Jesus. U.S. military helps intercept missiles Iran fired in retaliation. The U.S. military is helping intercept missiles. The U.S. has been moving assets nearer to Israel. Officials did not say how the U.S. provided assistance. U.S. Air Force fighter, aircraft, and destroyer-based missile defenses have... So we're in the fight. We're in the fight. We are in the fight. Not even a declaration of war. We're just in the fight? Well, that was fast. That was fast. Oh... just opened Iran responded and struck Israel, and a couple of their missiles pierced through the Iron Dome in Tel Aviv. Let's see the updates from Reuters. Do I gotta subscribe to keep reading? I do. Oh, let's see. Iran launched missile. Thank you for the $5. I'm a relapse. Go buy a pack of ciggies. Fair enough, brother. Iran launched missiles towards Israel, the nation's defense forces, prompting its highly sophisticated defense systems to intercept the threat. Let's see. Israel's earlier strikes had killed nearly 80 people and injured over 300 in Tehran. Iran launched more than 100 drones toward Israel. Is anybody monitoring the radiation levels in Iran? Because, like, if Israel struck the nuclear facilities, like, has anybody got a Geiger counter over there? Radiation levels in Iran. Let's see. Key Iran nuclear enrichment site of Nenats. Brother. Dude, capitalism is so cruel. Capitalism is so cruel, dude. What? Why are we? Why? Miss when you were cool, man? Me too, Jason. Brother, what the fuck? I have to pay to read this. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God, bro. All right, we've got the Times of Israel. I don't know how trustworthy this is. I'm sure it just straight up isn't. I'm sure that... What up, William? I'm sure this is just dead-ass the Fox News of Israel. Citing information from Iran, no increase in radiation levels. The Atomic Energy Agency says there is no increase in radiation levels at the nuclear site. Okay. Good. I hope you're not fucking lying.
This escalation is a threat for the European security interests and for the peace and security internationally. Iran's nuclear weapon would threaten the stability of the region.
I've been
and
in
would
this
bring
room,
within
bro. I have my own
the
seat.
risk of escalation, proliferation. In April, under the presidency of Jean-Noël Barrot, France organized a Security Council meeting to highlight the shared interest of the international community to preserve the non-proliferation regime, which is a key element of our collective security. And this implies for Iran that it needs to uphold its commitments not to seek or acquire nuclear weapons, and the need to fulfill its obligations. France, together with its European E3 partners, has engaged constantly in looking for a diplomatic solution to the
This is Tehran. Lower it. It's very loud. Sorry about that.
Well, Israel says it used 200 jets to attack more than 100 targets in Iran, releasing this video that shows US-made fighter jets involved in the airstrikes. The F-35 jets made by Lockheed Martin are the most modern in Israel's fleet.
This is
according
$2,
to the
Rinka.
International Institute for Strategic Studies. Let me bring in for you Oren Lieberman, who is standing by in Jerusalem. Yasmin El-Gamal is a former Middle East advisor to the Pentagon, also with us. Oren, let me start with you. Two things I want to talk about. Firstly, those jets, and to a degree, the release of those images, some are saying, sort of ties the US very
I know,
much
Ed. It's just a
into,
grim reminder.
behind the scenes, at least, involvement, as it were, in these attacks, although, you know, we have had an official statement from the Secretary of State saying there has been no involvement, specific involvement. Secondly, you got some reporting about how Mossad pulled this off, what we're seeing here. Smuggling, including of weapons, into Iran. So let's just take on those. Let's start with this video. Just how much did it take for Mossad to be on the ground smuggling weapons into Iran ahead of these attacks?
It's an incredible operation, and one that an Israeli security source said was long in the planning. Not a specific timeline on that, but I think it's easy to look at this and say this is months, if not potentially much longer than that. I'll remind you that we have seen Israel do something in this vein before when it came to the assassination of chief nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh back in, I believe it was November 2020, with what Iranian state media said was a remote-controlled gun that detected him and fired upon him while he was in a bulletproof vehicle in a secure convoy. So Israel has, at least in theory, shown the capability to carry out something.
What? A remote-controlled gun shot him in a bulletproof car. What? Say that again.
I believe it was November 2020, with what Iranian state media said was a remote-controlled gun that detected him and fired upon him while he was in a bulletproof vehicle in a secure convoy. So Israel has, at least in theory, shown the capability to carry out something like this, but this is on a much...
Brother, where the fuck was this shit against Hamas? Why aren't you using this shit against Hamas? Okay, so you're admitting you're just blowing the fuck up? You're just blowing them up because you want to blow them up? You're just blowing them up. You got this shit? You got this shit? What are we doing?
Much larger scale. That security source saying there were Israeli commando teams smuggling weapons in, explosive drones that targeted surface-to-air missiles, ballistic missiles, missile launchers that were mounted on vehicles, and all of that was effectively set off at the same time as the Israeli Air Force fighter jets were approaching to carry out this massive first wave of strikes that we have seen, and then, of course, we have seen more strikes. So to carry out an operation like this requires a tremendous amount of planning and confidence. And it's also worth pointing out that after the assassination of the chief Iranian nuclear scientist, after the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, after the stealing of the Iranian nuclear archive, Iran seems completely unable to stop the Mossad from pretty much operating Iran like it's the Mossad's backyard.
Yeah. And in the past, of course, they might have relied on Hezbollah in Lebanon, but as we were showing those images to retaliate, but as we were showing those images, I am reminded of Israel's undercover operation, of course, in September.
Check that out, Stan.
To
Thanks for the
take
$5.
out the command and control of Hezbollah with beepers, which has sort of started off this cascade of fragility, as it were, for Iran through its through the sort of defanging of its proxies around the region. And talking to sources around the region today, they are saying that the decapitation, as it were, of this command and control in Iran is, some X times what Israel was able to achieve with Hezbollah. Before I bring in Yasmin, I do just want you to speak to the assets that were taken out, the targets that Israel had in Iran today at the very highest level. Just speak to those, if you will.
It's absolutely remarkable. It's not just the Natanz nuclear facility, Iran's primary nuclear enrichment facility. It's decapitating the top of Iran's military structure, its military leadership, including the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and then going after the top levels of their nuclear officials. That potentially, and this is what we're seeing from here, may have delayed or effectively made it more difficult for Iran to retaliate.
One more try.
So far is about 100 drones, and certainly that's significant, but none of them got towards Israeli airspace, at least not from what we have seen to this point. Israel is anticipating a much larger response from ballistic missiles.
Sound better or worse?
Except the head of the IRGC Air Force, who was in charge of the ballistic missiles, was also killed in this attack.
What's the consensus?
Of top military leaders in Iran that have been killed as part of this by Israel is growing longer and longer as we learn more about what happened here. They have truly decapitated the command and control of Iran's military leadership.
For more on this, we're joined now by the former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, General Wesley Clark. He's also the founder of Renew America Together. General Clark, as usual, thanks very much for joining us. Let's start with your reaction to these Israeli strikes against various targets, military and nuclear, other targets in Iran. How significant are they?
All right, what about this?
I think it's a very significant attack. I think the methods are innovative. They actually had elements on the ground inside Iran which were able to go after the air defense and some of the retaliatory systems. And so they had some additional assurance. The strikes, 200 aircraft, big strikes. Now, did it take out the nuclear? Probably not. So as they're saying, they're going to go back in again and again and again. And my guess would be they're going to have to put people on the ground to go into those sites and really verify that they've been taken out. And Wolf, I think, I think this is a major turning point in the region. Look, for over 40 years, you've had a regime committed to the destruction of the people.
I'm streaming, and then out of nowhere, the window, it just gets real bright.
And so I know there's talk about is it going to be a regime change or not. I think there's a high likelihood that it will be regime change. And I think certainly if I were in the Israelis' position, I'd be pushing for it.
Regime change in Iran, that's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was just going to say, General, these Israeli strikes clearly have killed some of the most powerful officials in Iran, including their highest-ranking military officer and the head of its elite Revolutionary Guard.
You see this guy, Ali Shamkhani? That's the guy Trump was negotiating with directly. Trump was having conversations with that guy. He's dead as fuck now. Blown to smithereens, dead as fuck. That's insane. Remember when Trump posted on Truth Social? I showed you. He was like, I was having big negotiations. They're dead now. I think even Trump is a little bit tweaked out. I think part of the reason why Trump hasn't said nothing is because this is such a wake-up call, like, that he's a little bitch. Also, Trump green-lighted this operation. Don't fool yourself into thinking that the Israelis did this without Trump's permission. Trump is a little baby-back bitch for Israel, and he'll do whatever they ask him to do. But he green-lighted this.
How big of a blow is this to Iran, and could it affect Iran's response?
It is a big blow. It will, and probably already has, affected the response. But Wolf, so many of my friends who have connections with Iran have said that the Iranian people are waiting for a strike like this to overthrow the regime.
That is such fucking cope. That is such cope, dude. That's like CIA shit where it's like, yeah, we're doing this to take out the leadership and we actually already have implants. Let me adjust the gain one more time. Sorry. They're like, yeah, we already have implants ready to take over the government. This is typical American-style regime change. This is the type of shit that we've done in South America a million fucking times. You know what I'm saying? It's very typical.
I think the consequences here go beyond the nuclear.
Well, we'll see if that actually happens. Israeli officials are saying their Mossad intelligence agents smuggled precision weapons and drones into Iran in the days just ahead of this attack. And this is just weeks after we saw Ukraine actually deploy a similar strategy as they struck key targets in Russia with drones that have been smuggled inside Russia. Give us a sense how this new drone warfare that's unfolding is reshaping the battlefield.
Well, it's certainly changing the ability to strike in depth. Previous to this, most military theorists looked at war as a linear process. You add space to it as another dimension, of course. But the idea that you would go in and...
So this is a drone POV, and that's a missile down there.
Peacetime, and really prepare the battlefield in depth with the forces that could strike, not just with sabotage and blowing up bridges, but with actual kinetic effect on enemy forces.
You cannot trust a country like Iran with nuclear weapons. It's bad enough that China, Russia, and North Korea have them. I'm going to challenge you to raise your thinking a little bit further and push it a little bit further. I don't think any nation on Earth can be trusted with a nuclear weapon. We should not have nuclear weapons. These are insanely powerful weapons. And let me propose a thought to you, okay? I want to ask you a question. Don't leave. I want to propose a thought to you, Extreme. Do you believe that all humans are fallible? That humans fail? Humans fuck up? Do you believe that? Because I sure as shit do. I believe that humans, especially as a whole, that we are fallible. We fuck up. Yes? Okay. Then doesn't that mean that our institutions and our inventions will have also been fallible? We build buildings, sometimes they collapse. We build trains, sometimes they don't work. That the things we build fail. They are fallible as well, yes? Because they are designed by us. Would you agree there as well, Extreme Machamp? Absolutely. Then here is my thought. That means that humanity's nuclear deterrence system, which is essentially MAD, right? Mutually assured destruction. Our deterrence system is no one's stupid enough to launch a nuke because we'll all launch our nukes. That means that system is fallible. It is doomed to fail. Or even just having these nuclear weapons means if we're all wiped out by some pathogen, they're gonna go off. Because, listen, and this is coming from me, I am actually a delegate for the United Nations Denuclearization Proliferation Treaty, right? We need constant maintenance to make sure these weapons don't go off on their own. Do you understand that? We need constant maintenance to make sure these things don't go off on their own. They were supposed to stop people from having to go into meat waves, but that effect failed too. Fair point. Yes, and here's the thing about nuclear weapons that you're saying. You're saying they were supposed to stop people from having to go into meat waves, right? That's the military practicality of a tactical nuke, right? Here's the thing. Why haven't we used it then? Why hasn't any military used a nuclear weapon in combat? The reason is it's actually useless. A tactical nuke, in terms of winning a conflict, conquering land, de-escalating a conflict, it is literally useless, because the only thing that can happen from using a nuclear weapon is escalation. Nuclear fallout, other nations fire their nukes. You see what I'm saying? Is that, and even if you did use it, like let's just say hypothetically, Russia nuked the front lines of Ukraine. Well, now what's the point? Now there's nothing left. Now you can't live there because the air is contaminated. There's nuclear fallout. The wind is going to carry it. Now the people are dead. There is literally no point to having these weapons other than ending the fucking world. That's it. That's it. Because the whole point of having these weapons is, well, at least we can end the world. What? See my point? Don't you fucking go out there and bork. You're not allowed to go out there and bork. People in the hallway are allowed to exist. They do not need your permission to exist. God damn, she's like a fucking Israeli.
What the Ukrainians did, that's apparently what the Israelis have done. It certainly was what the Soviets wanted to have done should they ever have attacked NATO. They would have had their forces inside Germany before the balloon ever went up, so to speak. And so I think all the countries of the West now have to recognize what the difference is now in the depth of the battlefield. You have to have what we call rear area security, much more intensively managed and resourced than we have ever anticipated.
You know, it's interesting. Some of the experts have suggested to me that Israel's very successful decision to take out the leadership of various Iranian proxy organizations like Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas, destroy the top leadership of Hamas, destroy the top leadership of Hezbollah, destroy the top leadership of various pro-Iranian proxy groups in Syria, for example, before the fall of Bashar al-Assad. The Israelis are now trying to do exactly the same thing to the Iranian regime as they did to their proxies, whether in Lebanon or Gaza or Syria. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yes, and I think it's...
By the way, guys, there's about 300-something people in here. If you're new here, hi, how you doing? I'm Chris Valenti. I'm a douchebag from New York. I majored in history. I minored in political science. I want to have a family, but I refuse to raise them under a fascist regime. I hate Donald Trump. There's nothing I hate more than fucking fascists. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'm a socialist. If that scares you, that means you don't know what it is. You probably think I'm the communist, and you probably don't know what that is either. But don't worry, we're here to learn. We're here to learn.
It's all part of a long-term plan. I think really that October 7th really let loose the so-called dogs of war in the region. And Israel, which had been suffering and worrying about this Iranian nuclear threat, the threat of Hezbollah, the threat of Hamas, the arc of resistance, so to speak, the Houthis, all of that just unfolded in such a way at such a time with the right Israeli leadership that there's a sense of, in Israel, of taking decisive action. Not about, oh, let's cap the escalation, not about, oh, we don't want a regional war. For Israel, as your ambassador just said, it is a matter of survival of a people.
All right, I think we should make a video, huh?
Iran launching a massive aerial attack on Israel. This, the moment these Iranian missiles struck Tel Aviv.
Yeah, we'll make a video real quick, and then we're going to pull up King Doland on Truth. And then we're going to pull up King Doland on Twitter. Chris, explain why the United States of America dropped the atomic bombs on Japan. Japan was completely ready to surrender to the Soviets. In fact, they had already written up surrender terms. Japan was very upfront since the beginning. They said if the Soviets ever invaded the island, we would have to surrender because they would fuck our shit. Right? So we realized that the Japanese were getting ready to surrender to the Soviets, and we would not have that. We knew that the next war was going to be a Cold War with the Soviets. They were going to be the only superpower that could possibly challenge us. So we decided that we would force the Japanese into submission to surrender to us. We nuked them once. They didn't give a fuck. You want to know why they didn't give a fuck? Because the Japanese never gave a fuck about civilian life. We had been firebombing Tokyo the entire fucking time, and seemingly, even though we killed far more civilians firebombing Tokyo, they didn't give a shit, right? Then we hit them with a second nuke, and suddenly they realized we have a third one cooked and ready to go. Who the fuck knows how many more? They surrendered to us before they could surrender to the Soviets. That's why we bombed them. Not to show the Japanese who was boss, but to show the Soviets what we had and just how fucking willing we were to use it on civilians. That is why. It was the opening, the interlude of the Cold War. It was the first act of the Cold War. That's what that was. All right. Let's make a video. Why do you think socialism is better than communism? I don't believe that humanity is ready for communism. I think that communism is a utopia, and a utopia is a perfect world, and a perfect world does not exist. However, we are advancing into this age of autonomous robots that are going to be able to handle doing the tasks that the average human doesn't want to do, you know, like sweeping the streets and taking out the trash and scooping shit and flipping burgers, right? Only in a rapidly advanced technological society where all of the remedial tasks that are needed to keep the world spinning are done autonomously, then and only then could you enter a moneyless, classless society where everybody is equal, because that level of equality needs to be extremely good. It can't be equally poor. Everybody would need to be equally rich. You hear what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying? I don't think we're ready for it. All right, let's make a video. Hello. Iran has struck back. Iran has hit Israel. Iran launched missiles in Tel Aviv. At Tel Aviv, the Iron Dome stopped a couple of them, but a few of them pierced through. We've got footage. This is some crazy shit. Again, Iran has retaliated because Israel struck Iran first preemptively with this bullshit claim that Iran had this secret nuclear plan to build a nuke and hit Israel. Also, the Yemeni Houthis have also been launching ballistic missiles. American forces are in Israel intercepting these missiles. Things are escalating so fucking rapidly. And Israel said earlier, before Iran retaliated, Israel said, if Iran retaliates, we will kill the Ayatollah. That's what they said. They said, we know where you are. We just killed your right-hand man, salami lid, and we will take your shit out if you retaliate. Well, now, Iran has retaliated. And also, I want to point out one thing before we watch this footage. King Doland hasn't said diddly shit on his fucking private Twitter, Truth Social, in 9 fucking hours, okay? Or on Twitussy, okay? I think this guy... Also, don't fool yourself into thinking the Israelis did this without Trump's permission. Trump deadass Hundo P greenlighted this shit. He definitely fucking greenlighted this shit. But now he's got his dick in his hands because he said, I'm gonna end the wars on day one. I'm a peaceful dove. And motherfucker, World War III? Your birthday's tomorrow, and you've got tanks, jets, helos, armored vehicles, strikers. You got 7,000 fucking soldiers in D.C. What the fuck? The optics, my boy. The optics from King Doland right now. Don't forget, I'm Chris Valenti. This is the Valenti VOD. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. I notice a lot of you here are new. If you don't know who I am, I'm a douchebag from New York who majored in history and minored in political science. I wrote my fucking college thesis about the rise of fascism in Germany in the 1920s and 30s. And I really want to have a family, but I refuse to raise a family in a fucking fascist regime. There ain't nothing I hate more than a fucking fascist. Let's watch this video.
Iran launching...
Oh, and if you want to help the channel financially, because this is real independent media and I got no fucking funding, buy merch, become a patron, become a member, and use the 40% off discount code for the Vantage subscription on Ground News.
A massive aerial attack on Israel. The moment... An Iranian missile struck Tel Aviv. 7 people were injured in that strike. The Israeli military saying that their entire nation is now under fire. The United States military is helping intercept Iran's missiles and drones, a source confirms to CNN.
Yeah, so Iran launched like 100 fucking drones at the Israelis. Because the Israelis fucking killed like 80 people, a couple of kids, bunch of civilians, bunch of military leaders, knocked out scientists, the fucking Ayatollah's right-hand man. I mean, Jesus Christ.
And at this hour, the Israeli prime minister is warning this isn't over.
More is on the way.
I'm willing to bet so much money this is a green screen, and he's like 7 miles underground in a bunker under Jerusalem. I am so willing to bet fucking money he's in the goddamn Führer bunker right now.
The regime doesn't know what hit them. They don't know what will hit them. The nation of Iran and the nation of Israel have been true friends since the days of Cyrus the Great. And the time has come for you to unite around your flag and your historic legacy by standing up for your freedom from an evil and oppressive regime.
Welcome to our viewers in the United States and around the world. CNN is covering this breaking news from all angles across the globe. Oren Lieberman's live for us in Jerusalem. Jeremy Diamond is in New York. Fred Pleitgen standing by in Berlin. He actually just returned from Iran. Kristen Holmes is at the White House, and we're also going to be joined by Colonel Cedric Leighton. Oren, I do want to start with you. You've been reporting throughout the night, occasionally from a bomb shelter. Take us through what's been unfolding in Israel and what you expect.
Well, we're now out of that bomb shelter, Casey, and back in our bureau here on the 3rd floor in the building from which the CNN office operates here. And it is almost, looking back here behind me, a bizarre sight given how quiet it is late Friday night here in Jerusalem. That's because we spent much of the past hour and a half.
Thank you for the $5 donation, Rocky Lucid.
Or so in a bomb.
On a scale of 1 to totally fucked, where are we at right now? Like a 7? Like a 7. Because right now, let's be pragmatic for a second here. Right now, Israel is attacking Iran. Iran is attacking Israel. Yemen is attacking Israel. The United States is defending Israel. Things will hit 8 if any American is killed. If a single fucking American is killed by an Iranian, we're moving to 8. And then, God fucking forbid, if the Iranians strike the American aircraft carriers that we have intercepting their rockets, that's 8 to 9. That's 8 to 9. That's a hundo P. Even if it doesn't do damage, if they even attempt it, 8 to 9. And then I think 9 to 10 is if the United States launches our own missiles at Israel. At Iran. If we did that, that's 9 to 10. Could you imagine the first option?
Shelter in the basement when the Israeli military and Home Front Command warned of incoming Iranian ballistic missile fire, sending not only us here in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv, but effectively all across the country into bomb shelters for just about an hour here as 2 barrages of ballistic missiles, dozens of missiles in both cases, according to the Israeli military, were incoming. A short while ago, Israel's military spokesperson, Brigadier General Efi Defrin, said there were, in his words, less than 100 missiles fired. There were a few hits, meaning a few were able to penetrate Israel's air defenses, and there were obviously intercepts. We saw that play out in the skies over Tel Aviv and over central Israel, where not only is much of the population based, but there are also very significant military bases, the Ministry of Defense, Mossad headquarters in that area as well. And that's where we have seen Iran target in the past and where it appears they tried to target once again. Some of those missiles intercepted by Israel's air defenses, and we saw shrapnel falling down on the
2
streets.
hits. By the way, bro, if a fucking medieval person saw this, if a ancient person saw that clip, they would think it was the gods having a battle in the sky. Look at this
But there are also
again.
very significant
Somebody
military
better
bases,
animate
the
this
Ministry of
shit.
Defense, Mossad headquarters in that area as well. And that's where we have seen Iran target in the past and where it appears they tried to target once again. Some of those missiles intercepted by Israel's air defenses, and we saw shrapnel falling down on the streets of Tel Aviv and in other places. There were reports of damage to buildings, damage to some cars, and shrapnel all across the streets there. Crucially, the Israeli military spokesperson gave a warning that there may be more incoming rocket fire throughout the course of the night, and the population is instructed to stay near bomb shelters. Immediately when Israel began its attack on
somebody give me a medieval orphan and let me show it that clip, bro. Let me show a medieval orphan that
Iran
fucking clip.
some 14, 15 hours ago or so at this point, roughly 3:30 in the morning last night. The first warning was that there may be an imminent retaliation. It took some time. It took more than 12 hours. But that retaliation, at least the beginning of it, we saw play out as we were ordered to go to bomb shelters over the course of the past hour. As you pointed out,
Obi-Wan's got a point. Isn't it crazy that the 2 most evil bastards in the Middle East are going to war while the most evil bastard in the West is going to celebrate his birthday with a giant authoritarian fucking military parade? Meanwhile, the most evil bastard in Europe is conquering Ukraine, and then, just to put the creme de la creme, just to put the fucking cherry on top, the most evil bastard in Asia is sitting there on his fucking bed, kicking his feet up, texting Xi Jinping, going, bro, are you seeing this shit? And Xi Jinping is going, I told you, bro, all you had to do was wait, and these dumb fucks will destroy themselves. What the fuck?
Israel's emergency responders, Magen David Adom, which is effectively the equivalent.
Meanwhile, Germany is building up its army. What?
The Red Cross locally say there were 7 injuries, 1 moderate, largely from shrapnel as a result of the incoming rocket fire. It is worth pointing out that it is still only in the first, give it an hour or so after the incoming rocket fire, so we'll wait to see if that number goes up. And again, crucially, there is an expectation that more may be coming. Israel had warned before now that the Iranian retaliation could be well beyond what we saw back in April or October, meaning more than 100 ballistic missiles, potentially drones as well, and we did see some drones launched earlier today, the vast majority of which were intercepted before they got to Israel's airspace. But
dude, tomorrow Aaron Parnas is going to be like, breaking news, 200 billion people are dead.
This may not be the end of it, and that works both ways. Israel expects may launch more ballistic missiles, potentially more drones, and Israel has warned, we heard Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu say it right at the top of the show, that Israel is also prepared to carry out more strikes in Tehran. After early this morning, they went after the Natanz nuclear enrichment facility, a number of targets throughout neighborhoods in Tehran, ballistic missiles, surface-to-air missiles, and decapitated much of
Brother,
Iran's...
did you just call Jesus McJesus like McDonald's? What do you, like, brother, I'm not even Christian, and that's gotta be blasphemous. That's gotta
military
be fucking
leadership
blasphemous.
and some of the top nuclear officials in the country. I will point out one more thing as we wait here. We have heard from U.S. officials that the U.S. helped intercept the incoming ballistic missile fire. The US
Sorry, could you repeat that real quick? Because I know we're going to brush over this, but...
I will point out one more thing as we wait here. We have heard from U.S. officials that the U.S. helped intercept the incoming ballistic missile fire.
Okay, so if the United States helped intercept the incoming ballistic missile fire from Iran, now put yourself in the shoes of the Iranians, right? Iranian leadership. You're going to go, okay, so that means that America is involved, and if we want our missiles to get in, we're going to have to get rid of those American interceptors. Doesn't that mean that you are kind of opening up American military members to be targets now? You're kind of like welcoming, like a, not welcoming, but you're like, hey, we're in it now. Like, I mean, McJesus Christ.
The U.S. made clear that Israel was acting at least offensively when it carried out these strikes on its own, but now that it comes to the defense of Israel, we are seeing U.S. troops get involved there, and that is likely U.S. THAAD batteries, terminal high-altitude area defenses that would work in cooperation with Israel's own air defenses to try to intercept what were two waves of Iranian attacks as the country braces for any more that might come, not only tonight, but in the coming days.
All right, Oren Lieberman, stand by for us. Thank you for that great reporting. And we should just note we are looking at live pictures right now on the ground from Tel Aviv. But I do want to bring in Kristen Holmes. She's live for us at the White House. Kristen, I understand you have new reporting.
Bro, isn't it crazy that there are millions of evangelicals who are probably cheering for this because they genuinely believe that at any moment the fucking sky is going to open up and Jesus Christ is going to come down with an M240 Bravo and lead a battle against the fucking Antichrist while those evangelicals get stripped naked and summoned up into the pearly gates of heaven, and the rest of us are gonna have to fight alongside Jesus Christ and his fucking army of angels against the four horsemen of the apocalypse and Satan and the Antichrist, and brother, that is this anime? Like, dude, the Bible is just fucking anime. That is anime shit!
On a call between President Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister?
Yeah, that's right. We were just learning that Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump spoke earlier today. Now, no details of what exactly they talked about, but this comes after a U.S. official told me that, in fact, the U.S. is helping assist Israel with those incoming missiles. They noted to me that there are hundreds of thousands of American citizens that they feel they have to protect in Israel, as well as U.S. military assets. This is also coming after we learned that yesterday Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu were in constant contact, had multiple phone calls, including before those strikes on Iran. That was news given that we were told by a number of people that the U.S. was not involved. Now, the U.S. still says that they were not involved in the actual strikes, that Israel acted unilaterally. However, this communication timeline...
Currently, there's some breaking news that Israel is currently attacking Iran again. Israel attacks Iran again. Is it happening again? 5 minutes ago. Let me see the live updates. Do we have a live update? 8 minutes ago. Iran activates air defenses over Tehran to intercept another round of Israeli attacks. Tehran's air defense system is currently active following another round of Israeli attacks. Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency and state-affiliated Fars news agency reported in the early hours, so 14 minutes ago. The IAEA chief says Israeli strikes destroyed the above-ground enrichment plant of Iran's Natanz nuclear facility, or Natanz. That's what we were looking up and trying to see what the radiation levels are like in Iran right now. The radiological and chemical contamination inside of the Natanz facility. The contamination can be managed with appropriate message. Outside the facility, radioactivity is at a normal level. At a normal level? Brother, did you guys ever see that show Chernobyl where they're like, what does the Geiger counter say? They're like 6 Röntgens, and they're like, oh, not bad, not too good. And then it turns out their fucking meters don't work. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. They don't have enough information regarding military activity at those locations. Oh my goodness gracious.
Hey, this is Oren Lieberman coming to you from a bomb shelter in Jerusalem where we have spent, frankly, much of the past hour since the Israeli military and Israel's Home Front Command
this is Oren
gave the
Lieberman
order that
coming
they
to
were
you from
incoming Iranian
a bomb
ballistic
shelter
missiles in Jerusalem where we have spent, frankly, much of the past hour since the Israeli military and Israel's Home Front Command gave the order that they were incoming Iranian ballistic missiles and ordered not only Jerusalem here, but also pretty much the entire country and major population centers in northern, central, and southern Israel into bomb shelters ahead of those incoming ballistic missiles.
All right. Iran retaliates with missile attacks. Yeah, we know that. Anything new?
The Israeli government is saying that it is okay to leave protected areas, but as we know from the last 24 hours, things could change very quickly.
And Ione, we've just heard many calls from countries at the UN Security Council for calm, for de-escalation, for a return to diplomacy. What have we heard from the Israeli Prime Minister?
The U.S. already jumped in, lowlife. We're already involved.
The latest statement we've had from the Israeli Prime Minister has been essentially a call to the people of Iran to rise up against their government. He has described the attacks that Israel carried out last night on Iran as not just an attack on their nuclear capacity, but also on the regime itself in Iran, calling on the Iranian people to essentially
How are we involved?
join.
American officials have already confirmed that American defense units have intercepted Iranian missiles. We have been shooting down Iranian missiles. American forces are already involved.
Israel's efforts to overthrow the government. And I think this is a sort of symbolic moment because it seems to suggest what others have been speculating here, that this isn't, as I say, just about necessarily targeting the nuclear capacity in Iran, but also the leadership itself. But more widely as well today, we have heard continued statements from both the Israeli government and also the Iranians as well, saying that they plan to continue attacks on one another. So despite what you've mentioned there, these diplomatic talks that have been happening, other nations urging for restraint, that certainly doesn't seem to be the rhetoric coming from leaders in the region here.
Okay, Ione Wells there in Jerusalem. Thank you very much.
Controversial opinion, but like, fuck Iran's government, fuck Israel's government. I don't think either of those governments are fit to lead. I think we need to just replace them both. Controversial opinion, I think they both fucking suck.
For that. Well, the White House has confirmed that US President Donald Trump has spoken with his Israeli counterpart, to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and we also understand that the American military assisted Israel in shooting down Iran's missiles and drones that were sent today in retaliation. The attacks come, of course, as the US and Iran have been engaged in negotiations to reach a deal on Tehran's nuclear program. Those talks are due to resume over the weekend, but Iran has now pulled out of Sunday's meeting in Oman in the wake of Israel's attack. President Donald Trump is urging Iran still to make a deal, writing on social media that even more brutal attacks are planned if Tehran does not. Well, let's go now to the White House and speak to our chief North America correspondent, Gary O'Donoghue. Gary, we've seen and heard very little from President Trump today. What do we know about
if I say
what
something
is
right now? So I'm just going to close that tab. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, and King Doland is still yet to say anything. And for 9 hours, King Doland hasn't said a goddamn word. All right, listen, if you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, I'm going to call it here. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you're watching this live, you stay. We're going to keep on going. One last thing, if you're pre-record, click that video right there. I promise it's a banger, and I know bangers. Oh, geez, fucking Louise. I got to get this posted ASAP. So, Iran strikes Israel That's the thing, bro. That's the thing about this job is I kind of got to get this shit posted instantly and immediately. So let's go with, we need a picture. Look at that thumbnail. Look at that thumbnail. I want that thumbnail. You got that thumbnail for me, CNN? Yeah, keep it right there for me, CNN. Thanks, CNN. Much appreciated, CNN. All right. All right. We got a free thummy there. Get fucked. You should have copyrighted it. All right, we're going to lose a couple of frames here. We always lose frames when it's thummy time. But, you know, thummy time means thummy time, and it's thummy time. See how quickly we could do it this time. We gotta go to camera roll. Wait, no, we gotta go pictures, and then we gotta go screenshots. And then it's the bottom one. There we go. And then let's get me in there. I gotta have a good one. I gotta have a good one somewhere. I doubt Iran would let Grossi back in. He's an agent. I don't think Iran is going to comply with anybody. Now, they have nobody to trust. They have no reason to trust anybody. I said, fuck copyright laws. You know, fuck that shit. Iran strikes Israel. What's up, brother? I'm live right now. How you doing?
Yo, what's good, dog? Yeah, I'm watching you. I was just saying we have a crazier Iron Dome pic in the group if you wanted to use that for the thumbnail.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, go check it out.
Let me see.
It's like couple up, Dan sent it.
Holy fuck, that's a crazy shot.
Yeah, if you wanted to use that, I know you're...
Dude, what a call from Eddie. What a massive call from Eddie. Wow. No, that's money. That's money. That's money. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Wow, we got the boys on this operation. We've got the boys on this operation. One of my boys, he was like, yo, 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 I'm watching the stream. I've got a better picture for you. Don't make that thumbnail yet. Wow, what a ledge. Let's see. Did it come through yet? I gotta wait for this email to go through with the picture. a little bit of the next stick. Hey, listen, at least we don't need to worry about dying from these things no more, because we're all going to fucking die in Iran or some shit. All right, email got through. Let's pull it up. Let me get that picture. I know we're losing frames. It's because I pulled up my email. Download. Episode 150. All right, that is saved. And now I can show you guys the fruit of Eddie's labor. Wow, he was right. Wow, Eddie was right. What an insane fucking shot. What a fucking insane shot. Brother, this is what I was talking about. Like, give me a medieval peasant. Let me show this to a fucking medieval orphan right now. I don't even know where to put this because it's so, like, I gotta put it on the left and I gotta make it smaller, I think. I gotta put it like here, right? Like right there. And like, I gotta get me in there. I think this one will do. What do we think of that? You guys like that? I can't tell if this is good or bad. Is this good or bad? Should I move? Let's see how this looks up here. What about that? I mean, that's kind of blocking it. And then what about this? And then back to the original, which was right here. Let me also, hold on. Bottom right, original, the previous one. I think that's the one right there. Does anybody know? Yeah. We good. Let's see, full. Oh, okay. Hold on. What is? There. That'll do. All right, let's get this uploaded. Take 10% of that vid's monetization. Thanks. Ed, I'll give you a cut. I'll give you a cut, Ed. Excuse me. Hey, what the fuck? What the fuck? Excuse me, Forbes? Excuse me, Forbes? What the fuck? See, when I say it, it's okay. When you say it, that's not okay. All right, let's get this uploaded so we can turn that on. You guys want to watch that? What the fuck are we doing? I mean, Jesus. Yeah, no, verbatim. Forbes, are you in here? You fucking bastards. Give me a job. Give me a job. Decorum is gone. Fuck decorum. Give me a job. I'll show you how it's done. Give me back my frames, Nelson. All right, we need a title for this video. All right, this is episode 150. Emergency breaking. Iran has retaliated. Iranian missiles pierce the Iron Dome. Emergency braking. Iran has retaliated with missiles piercing the Iron Dome in Tel Aviv. I think that's going to be too long. Let's see. Let's find out. Yeah, that's okay. All right, get rid of emergency braking and just go with emergency. Now I'm 3 over. Iran has retaliated. Missiles pierce the Iron Dome in Tel Aviv. Okay. And so it begins. Yo, real quick, chat, send me $50,000. Just, like, for a second, send me 50 grand. No issues were found with this video. How does it start? Hi. Hello. All right. Starts good. The Valenti VOD. It is not made for kids. Yes, I want it monetized. Monetize. Monetize. Sensitive event. Publish. You guys should get that notification. Should be up. Should be good. You guys got it? All right. Bro, I'm a fucking journalist. I guess. Like, what the fuck? How'd this happen?
Democracies. Thank you so much for coming back on once again.
Well, thank you for having me today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, a senior director at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thank you so much for coming back on once again.
Well, thank you for having me today.
We are continuing to see a major escalation in the Middle East, and I think it's important to note exactly where we are right now during this conversation, just because the situation is so fluid. It's around 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon, and we saw overnight Israel launched a series of strikes on Iran's nuclear and military.
Is that your intention, to become a journalist? No, bro. I taught history because I love history. And then somewhere along the way, I started to realize that a lot of people were weirdly into the Germans. And a lot of people in America were holding weird sympathy for the Germans. And I was like, what the fuck? What? And then as my TikTok started to grow and grow and grow, I realized that a lot of my followers were fucking Nazis. So I was like, okay, well, if they already follow me and they already trust me and they think I'm smart, why don't I try and turn them with a slow drip? And then I realized it wasn't working, and then Trump won, and then I was invited to an election night live stream as a history correspondent, and as I watched my nation crumble, I was like, well, I have a giant platform, and I have the knowledge, and I really don't want fascism to rise. So even though this is going to hurt my pocket, and I'm going to make less money, and people are going to hate me, and I'm going to get death threats, I have a job to do now, because I think of myself in the future, and future me has 2 kids and a nice house and a beautiful wife, hopefully Maddie, and I can't do that under a fascist regime. So that's how I ended up here. And then next thing I knew, I was at the United Nations, and I was asking questions to the representative of Germany, and I was like, and I said to Avi, I said, brother, it's like I'm role-playing as a journalist. And he looked me dead in the eyes. He goes, you're not role-playing. Lock in. And I was like, oh. Because, yeah, those people didn't know that I was just a fucking dumbass. They immediately assumed I was a real journalist. So shit turned into this.
Military sites, killing Iranian scientists and top military officials. So to start off the conversation, what do you make of the attack?
You know, this is not surprising. I mean, this is really 20 years in the making. Israel has been very concerned about the Iranian nuclear program, not just because of the idea that they have the capability, but Iran has expressed over the years, their leadership has expressed some...
If you saw my videos around the UN, I said something. I made a video. It was me walking into the UN building, and it said, when you improvised your way through life and somehow ended up as a United Nations delegate, that wasn't a joke.
Serious malintent once they get that nuclear capability, that they would use it to exterminate Israel. You know, they're popular slogans in Iran led by the government are death to Israel, death to the United States, sometimes death to the United Kingdom if they're mad at them too. But the bottom line is Iran having a nuclear weapon is different than many other states having it, because it's not just that they'd have the capability, but they have an expressed intent to use it proactively. So this is a long time concern for the Israelis in the making. And then the other thing I'd add is President Trump tried hard diplomatically. He's tried. And he said 2 months ago.
President Trump tried hard. He pulled us out of the Iran nuclear deal. He is the reason this is happening. Donald Trump is the reason this is happening right now.
I'm giving this 2 more months, then you're going to get the stick. And I don't know that Israel understood exactly what he meant, but on day 60 plus about 6 hours, Israel struck. So from my point of view, this was a long time in the making, but the president did give him some short-term warning.
Let's talk about the timing of this attack, because it sounds like you don't think it's coincidence. It comes after multiple rounds of talks between the United States and Iran over a potential nuclear deal.
Chat, where's my money? I'm just fucking with you.
And I want to read something that President Trump posted. He posted this, quote, "I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done." He also added this, quote, "Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now, and it will only get worse. There's already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter with the next..."
Yo, guys, I don't know if I can watch this woman. I don't mean to be rude. I'm sure she's a great journalist. But, like, does anyone else agree? I can't listen to her for 17 minutes, right? Can't do it. I just can't do it. All right, here's the Marines. We finally got some footage of the Marines in LA. That's a sick gun. That's a sick gun, bro. Is that an M27 with a sniper scope on it? That's the squad designated marksman right there. This is the squad DM right there. Well, that's apparently an Iranian drone, and this is Israeli footage. Bro, combat is so strange now. There's no one in either of these things. There's nobody in either of these things. There's nobody in either of these things. Isn't this so strange? Like, guys, we can watch this, and we can watch them light this thing up and blow it up, and you don't need to feel anything. Because there's no pilot. And then, let's say that thing fucking shoots some shot straight up at the camera goes dark, you don't need to feel anything, because there's no one in it. Oh my God, it's so weird. And I understand it's like it's a double-edged sword, right? It's good because listen, that's 2 less people who would have to die. Whoever's flying this and whoever's flying this thing. 2 less people who have to die. Cool. Got it. The problem is These things are going to kill real people, right? So it's just like the humanity has been ripped out of warfare, even though war is the darkest part of humanity, but we've removed the consequences, you know what I mean? Like PTSD and the memories and guilt by just, it's only a matter of time before the guy, rather than a guy firing this green shit, it's like the night vision one, it's just also automated and nobody has to do anything. And it's just automatic, everything's automatic.
Okay,
it's interesting, it's strange. I think they're rehearsing it.
Tonight, ABC News up over Washington, D.C. with the Secret Service. What will this military parade look like and the security tonight? And President Trump's warning for any protesters. The White House pressed on this today and what they said about protests. ABC's Victor Akendo with the Secret Service flying over the nation's capital tonight.
Tonight, we suited up and boarded a U.S. Park Police helicopter with the Secret Service for an exclusive aerial tour over the nation's capital. Here we go. As authorities begin securing President Trump's massive military parade set for Saturday, which coincides with the president's birthday.
The entire area around the White House has been completely transformed. From above, we can see the nearly 20 miles of fencing leading right up to where President Trump will be on Saturday. Authorities tell me this will be the safest place in the world.
We saw...
For who? It will be the safest place in the world. For who? Donald Trump said anybody who protests will be met with heavy resistance. And you're saying it's the safest place in the world?
Dozens of tanks lined up near the National Mall, and this very close flyby the Washington Monument.
People waving at you from the windows.
Authorities then taking us behind the scenes on the ground.
Well, we're expecting hundreds of thousands of people on the mall. You will see us stands here full of our dignitaries and VIPs to include the president.
That's where the president will be?
Yep, right up there.
The parade will feature nearly 7,000 soldiers, 28 tanks, as well as dozens of armored fighting vehicles, and just added mounted rocket launchers and precision-guided missiles. The military display, the White House says, is to mark the Army's 250th birthday. The price tag, up to $45 million. President Trump warned protesters would be met with very big force. The White House pressed on this again tonight, said they do support peaceful protest.
David? Victor Akendo in Washington flying over the Capitol for us today. Victor, thank you.
Can I exit, please? Thank you. Oh. What the fuck, guys? What the fuck? All right. I'm going to take another break, fellas, ladies, non-binary folk. I'm going to take a break. Listen, I'll go live if things go crazy, okay? But for now, What am I saying? Things are going crazy, bro. What am I saying? Things are going crazy right now. What am I even fucking... Who am I kidding, bro? What the fuck are we talking about? Oh, Jesus. Bro, I feel like the canary in the coal mine. And finally the walls are coming down. And everyone's like, the fucking bird was right. Oh, I feel like Chicken Little, except now the sky is falling. And everyone's like, he was right. And I'm like, okay, thanks, but it's too late. The sky is falling. All right. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Costs you nothing and it helps me immensely. Thanks for almost 70,000 subs, guys. I really want to hit 100K subs. I really want the YouTube play button right there, guys. I really want that YouTube play button, guys. So if you're not subbed, please sub. Tell your friends to sub, you know. All right. Have a good one, folks. May the force be with you. May the force be with you. May the force be with you. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.